Alright, there's some controversy as to whether or not this one counts. But me and Cotton talked about it, and we both agreed that it's relevant. He seems to think that it doesn't count because I didn't get the girl, but I'd have to disagree and say that it counts because I didn't end up in jail. I guess that's a matter of perspective. You know, whether you're on the outside looking in or the inside of that cell looking out. So, y'all need some context to understand a little bit about this. About 2008 or 2009, I lived in Maumelle, or between Maumelle and North Little Rock on Short Marche Road. And I had a 95 Crown Vic that my grandparents gave me. And, I mean, that was a nice car at that time. It was well taken care of. But just as soon as I got it, a deer run out in front of me and wiped out one of the headlights. Okay, so where I lived from Walmart was directly through the woods, not far, but to get to my house from Walmart, or to get to Walmart from my house, put it like that, you had to go across the interstate, drive about 5 miles, cross back over the interstate, and then go down Maumelle Boulevard. Now, at that time, all the criminals from Little Rock and North of Little Rock would come to Maumelle in the middle of the night and basically walk up and down the street doing door checks. You know, just walk up and down the street grabbing door handles on cars, seeing if they could find one unlocked. And at least that was the explanation I was given. So, you know, you didn't get out on Maumelle Boulevard past 10 o'clock. You were going to get pulled over. That's just a fact of the matter. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you sticking around. You might as well stay for the rest of it because it's going to go downhill pretty fast from here on out. By now, you've probably noticed this title up here. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's thinking, but Tiny, almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and loose women. I kind of feel like if this girl was a loose woman, this one would have played out a whole lot different. At this point in my life, I was still feral. I mean, there wasn't some woman out there running around thinking she had tamed and domesticated me. So, there was no telling what might come out of my mouth. You just never knew. At that point in my life, I was drinking a lot. And my drink of choice was Black Velvet and Pepsi. One of my buddies got me on it, and it was just my thing. Well, I did my normal little thing, and I come home from work and go to sleep, work 6 at night to 6 in the morning, and, you know, I wake up 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Well, when I woke up, it was an off day, so I made me a drink, and got to thinking about it, and realized I wasn't going to have enough mixer. So, I decided, well, it's getting kind of late in the afternoon. I probably need to run to Walmart just to get a couple more Pepsis. The thing about Black Velvet is, you can't drink that stuff straight. It's like drinking isopropyl alcohol. I mean, you got to have paperwork. You got to be a certified alcoholic to drink that stuff straight. So I figured, you know, if I go ahead and leave now, it's still daylight. You know, I can make it back to the house before it gets dark. That way, I'm less likely to get pulled over. So, I went ahead and jumped in the car and run to Walmart. On the way back, I decided, well, maybe I need to turn off of Maumelle Boulevard to go home. And, you know, that way I'm not on the main strip. Little did I know, I turned right beside the police station. Now, if you're not familiar with Maumelle, there's several ways you can get across town without being on the boulevard, but turning right by the police station is not a good idea because there's always cops sitting there. So, of course, you guessed it, blue lights. girl steps out of the car, and, before I go any further, there's going to be somebody that's like, Tiny, you're making this up. Because this is every guy's fantasy. And to that I say, brother, you can't make this type of stuff up. There's nobody that I know that has an imagination this wild. That's why it has to be true. Now, most guys that have this fantasy, when it actually happens to them in real life, the girl that steps out of the car looks like she has been poured into her uniform. Like, literally, she has a body like a middle school lunch lady. Not this girl. She was blonde, about 5'6", and you could tell she had a smoking hot body. I mean, she was finer than a frog hair split 4 ways. At that point, I realized something was gonna go wrong. Like, this could not be happening. So, on another note, I had not had any positive interactions with police officers. Like, literally, I had like 39.5 points on my driving record and had a suspended driver's license. So, I'm as nervous as a dog pooping peach seeds, And she comes walking up to the car, and I can tell how good she looks, and, I'm as nervous as a two-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Rolling the window down, she said, Mr. Parker, I pulled you over because your headlight was busted. I said, I explained it to her. Yes, ma'am. I hit a deer a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't got a check from the insurance company to fix it yet. So, all she asked for was my insurance card. And I thought, okay, yeah, sure, here it is. She went back to her car, run my insurance, run my plate, and come walking back up there, and I thought, I might actually get out of this. I might not go to jail. She handed my card back to me and said, Miss Parker, just get your headlight fixed when you can. I said, yes, ma'am. And I'm astonished that, I'm not getting a ticket. And she turns to walk away from my window, and just as she turns, she turns back and she said, Mr. Parker, have you been drinking? That's when I realized I was probably going to go to jail. So I figured, might as well see if I can have some fun with this. Because, what did I have to lose? Go to jail? That was probably going to happen anyways. So, my dad always told me to be honest, so I just, yes ma'am, that it was less than 1, what everybody says. I actually went to Walmart, and, I told her the situation. And she asked me if I had somebody that could come pick me up. I had just moved to Maumelle. I didn't know anybody. So I said, no ma'am. And, I begged her, just please don't tow the car. You can take me to jail, it's fine, just please don't tow the car. Because I don't have the money to get it out. So she told me if I didn't have somebody to come pick me up, she's going to have to take me in. And I understand that. She had a job to do. So I told her, that's fine. Just don't put the handcuffs on me. For whatever reason, she asked me why. So me being me, I thought of the most clever thing I could say. Well, you see, ma'am, that would be a small situation that might arise to be a big problem. And she grinned a little bit and said, do what? And so I looked down at my lap and I said, that might be a small situation that would arise to be a big problem. And winked and smiled at her. Apparently, she figured out what I was talking about, because she turned the other way to keep from laughing. And So when she turned back to my car, she had a big cheesy grin on her face. She tapped the roof of the car and said, "Mr. Parker, you have a nice day," and went back and got in her car and left. That's not really how I expected that to go. So I probably sat there for like 5 minutes wondering what was going on, because it didn't go either direction I was really planning on it to go. And that was also when I realized I didn't have a filter when I was drinking. So, if you work in law enforcement in Maumelle or North Little Rock or Pulaski County, and you've heard this story, get at me. Because I really want to know how it sounds from the other side of it. Like, I gotta know.